Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Listen, if Ripple's going to speak, this is what I want to hear. There's a lot of big things going on with them pressuring Swift, right? They come right out with this statement right here. It's starting to heat up. I'm telling you. I know it's always heating up, but the degrees go a little bit higher each time. There's different degrees. So this article is titled Ripple CEO says Ripple will rewire the entire banking system. Now, listen, I know before you start typing, I know just because they said it doesn't mean they're going to accomplish it. But if you're going to be interested in a company who is involved in a cryptocurrency, that's exactly the mentality that I would want a company like that to have, that they're ambitious, that they're hungry, they believe in themselves, that they can take the banks. Because let's be real, what are most of us here for? We're here for that bank money. Some of us not here for that bank money, I know. But a lot of us are here for that bank money. That's what you want to hear. Now, I thought that they would probably say something like this after a while, because number one, let's be real. If you're a YouTuber, you've been hearing behind the scenes that Ripple has been taking a lot of meetings. Now, we can't verify if that's true or not. That's why that's not spoken on until now. It's like, well, I think if they are having a ton of meetings behind the scenes and they've been going successful, as some so-called insider, you don't know who's sending you information when you're a YouTuber. People just reach out to you in all types of ways. So you can't verify it. But when I see something like this, I say, well, maybe if they are taking a lot of those meetings with banks, which would make sense because that's what they should be doing, and they've gone successful, that may lead them to say something like this. But let's read this little tidbit here, okay? It says, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has urged the XRP ecosystem to focus on the big picture rather than engaging in an unreasonable rivalry with Bitcoin. You know, I was unaware that was continuing, like that it was still going on. That shows you I'm on a completely different side of the information sphere. I just been focused on the banks and things like that. And I've also been focused on Bitcoin as well, because I know Bitcoin is going to explode in price, but I haven't seen that overlap there. But let's continue on with this article. It says Ripple is building a transformative ecosystem, and Garlinghouse is stressing collaboration rather than competition. In his speech at the recently concluded XRP Las Vegas conference, he noted that Ripple is building an ecosystem that will transform the entire banking system. Listen, if you get those trillions in from interbank payments, it's game over. That price is going to be so astronomical, most won't believe it. We don't need them to. We just need to take that bank money. Who knows when it's going to happen? But the fact that they're discussing such a thing is very positive. It says, quote, listen to what he said. Quote, we underestimate how big this is. I'm telling you. I wonder what conversations they've had with Swift. Oftentimes, what I've seen is not every time. Companies will put pressure on each other, even as they're having discussions about partnerships or deals. You've seen that too. Like, you even see that with some countries sometimes. Countries will be in negotiations with each other, and they'll, in the public eye, they'll still put pressure on each other. It's one of their methods to try to close a deal or partnership. Although you could debate whether that's a good idea or not to pressure someone that you want to work with you, but that is a technique that I've seen used. It says Ripple modeled its business to bridge the gap between the global financial institutions and blockchain. Right there. You see that? The global financial institutions. Now, keep in mind, one of the things that I know is going to happen because of fragmentation, because the technologies of the legacy system have fallen behind, that bridge currency aspect, and then on top of that, the mechanisms that Ripple can utilize for interoperability is going to be more important than ever before. And it's so interesting that people used to talk about that a lot in the past, and I think it should be discussed even more now. That's a key catalyst, a key aspect to this whole thing, unlocking this whole thing. Now, what Ripple could do is those banks in the US, it can, how can I put this? How can I phrase this? It can help the small and medium banks rise and secure themselves the way that they want. And they can do business in a variety of different ways that they couldn't do before. That's a lot of value that's going to be consistent coming in. Then they can help the bigger banks continue to be global forces or expand their global reach in a way they currently can't do now. Geopolitical tensions are absolutely unbelievable right now. And they're even limiting certain companies, global reach and geopolitical tensions. But let's move on from there. There's more here. And then it continues in this article. It says, while the nascent industry focuses on removing monetary centralization and control tied to banks, Ripple's innovation lies in involving them in the future of finance. I think they're going to pull Swift in. I do. Can they defeat Swift outright? Yes, they could. But why do that? They already have so many connections. Use that to your advantage. Use their connections, absorb them, and it'll be easy to absorb them. They've been lagging behind. They're crying out in their documents for new tech, for help. It says the private firm aims to innovate cross-border payments by bringing them on-chain, thereby making remittance seamless and efficient. And that's one thing I think that's very deceptive. See, everyone leads with this whole cross-border payments thing as if that's the only thing Ripple does. And they know very well it's not. Early on in the channel, Ripple was testing out payroll. They did it in Latin America. That's number one. They can do payroll. Number two, they did offline QR code payments. When it comes to traceability, that's going to be heavy. That holds a lot of weight. Okay, so they can help with traceability in a way that's similar to what VeChain does. That's number two. Interbank payments. Number three. All types of payments outright. That's number four. And then you have the whole B2B, cross-border, retail, cross-border, whatever. You have that. There's a lot of different things they do. Not to mention when the banks get their hands on this stuff, they already let people know their intention. Do they have to say it a billion times? Or is it better to say something a bunch of times? Or is it better to say something one powerful time or two or three? Let it be heard and then let it stand. The banks have let it be known that they're interested in staking. Then what happened a few days back? Look all of this up. You can type all this, do a Google search. Those companies went to the government and were asking them for clarity on staking from all angles. Companies from all angles asking them for clarity on staking. Why? These big businesses and the banks, they know what they're about to do. They need to please their clients. When they go nuts with staking, just like they're doing with ETFs, when they go absolutely unbelievably insane with staking, that's going to make those prices skyrocket. And it won't be difficult. They want to make sure they're in the driver's seat. This is why, and it's so interesting how things happen. I was just talking about the whole manipulation of the market. And then you see how it goes up. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, not only does it go down, but you have articles coming out where they're like, well, we're trying to figure out why it went down. What do you mean you're trying to figure out why it went down? You're supposed to be the expert. You know why it went down. They don't want they don't want the price too high just yet. Their friends haven't gotten in. So let's say 2 months ago, they're saying like 70 to 72% of businesses are not in to Bitcoin and crypto just yet. It's a lot of them. That's probably lowball that number as well. But they want to wait until they get in because they want to profit off of them. They're not friends, but they know how to make a profit for sure. So it's not going to come from retail. We know retail is not going to make those prices explode in that way. That's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. In my humble opinion, it hasn't happened. But retail doesn't need it to happen that way. Retail just needs those prices to go up so retail can profit. That's it. You're here to make a profit. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just stating my thoughts. That's all. So when the businesses get in, other businesses and retail will profit off of them. Those who are early birds, as simple as that. And yes, we're still in a nascent phase. That's why they continue to say this. They said it at the top, nascent phase. So we're still in the beginning. But never negate how much Ripple does with XRP. XRP is the best thing that they have. Now hold on now. I have another article. My apologies. I'm trying to make this video as eloquent as I possibly can. It's so crazy. I had a great day yesterday, and then today was absolutely insane. Right before I tried to film this video, that makes it a little bit difficult at times to convey my thoughts clearly. Now, I swear I had something else about XRP that was eye-opening, and I think I lost the article, folks. It continues. This eradicates the need for intermediaries, pre-funding, and slow global fund transfer. They're going to weave their way into everything that they can. And in the future time, people won't even know Ripple's involved. They won't even know XRP is involved. And all the people either holding XRP, some people will continue to hold XRP long into the future, and it probably will be very profitable for them because it will become very stable at a high, very, very high price. I don't see them playing with XRP very much or being able to even move that price very much once it goes to a very high place, just because of its very nature, the continuity of the use of XRP being essential to maximizing the benefits of the XRPL. There has to be a continuity there amongst a great amount of banks. Simple as that. You have to have multiples of thousands. All right. So however many thousands Swift has, if Ripple takes a good chunk of that or integrates with Swift or does it outright, if I didn't say that already, that price will stabilize at a very, very high place. Who's mad at that? Then you can take profit whenever you want, right? It's not financial advice. Once again, it says here, citing the company's CTO, David Schwartz, Garlinghouse noted that this ploy would, quote, rewire the entire banking system. It's similar to that old saying they used to have when they used to say all the money. Remember that? It doesn't mean they're going to do that, but they don't have to. They just need to take a significant portion of that, and the price of XRP will be astronomical. It says making Ripple a giant in the cross-border payment and remittance business. It'll be much bigger than cross-border payments and remittances. We know that. Come on, we know this. It says remarkably, this initiative, if they weren't, then they wouldn't have talked about the implementation of AI. They wouldn't have, which businesses outright are going to need, not just banks, businesses. You need that AI for full automation. You want to lower prices of being able to have global reach with selling things around the world. They know that. You think Ripple doesn't know that? So they talk about AI implementation as well as smart contracts, etc. Then on top of they talking about RWA, real world asset tokenization. So why not mention that here? Why are you trying to make sure that people only focus on this small little aspect, which still alone could make that price go up? But at the same time, why cut all that other stuff out? What are you trying to do here? Does that not seem strange to you? Cross-border payments, remittance, but you don't mention RWA. You don't mention payroll. You don't mention how special it is to have offline QR code payments, that is the way that you access value in all those areas with spotty signals, or they have almost no internet signal at all, even though those are some of the areas where, if you're keeping up with commodities news, they've been scanning the ground and finding massive amounts of allotments of things like gold in places they never thought they were before. You've seen that, right? So in those places, in order to ensure that when they dig those things out of the ground, mine it, that it makes it from this place to that place without getting stolen, like the oil. Remember they were stealing all the oil. Oil goes missing all the time, folks. That's another thing. So one of the remedies they proposed for that was the offline QR code scanning, where it's still going to be in the system. Everywhere it goes, it has to be scanned from point to point to point. Once again, as an example, sort of like what VeChain does. They have that capability. That's major. RWA is major. Why not mention that? Why not mention interbank payments? Why not mention that? I could be wrong. Maybe some of these people, that's just what their focus is. That's possible. That's definitely possible. Or it's also possible maybe they don't want you too bullish as they're buying more and more and more XRP. Somebody behind the scenes has been buying a ton of XRP consistently, especially when people sell, then they buy. So it doesn't even make a blip on the radar. You don't even see that they're doing that unless those professional companies come out and say, well, there was this big purchase. Other than that, not many people are keeping up with that stuff. Some suspicious activities going on. This is a lot of this is a setup, in my humble opinion. You don't have to agree. Now let's move on here. All right. I'm not sure how long the video is now. I've had to chop it multiple times as I've had multiple interruptions so far throughout this video. So now we're going to move on. I just want to jump to a little bit of Bitcoin news just in case this video is a little bit long. Let's get some Bitcoin news in. So look at this. Bitcoin structurally strong despite major pullback. Bitfinex analyst says. It says Bitcoin remains strong after a pullback from a major rally, states a report by Bitfinex analyst released on Monday, June 2nd, after reaching its all-time high of $111,880 with a 50% rally In just 45 days, the asset has encountered significant macroeconomic pressure, notably reinstated, they got the whole geopolitical things going on. I don't want to really discuss any political stuff, but you know what's going on in the world that they're saying is affecting this. Bitcoin faces macro uncertainty, profit taking. That's what they're saying. Okay, I suppose that you could. I don't think that that's it. I don't think that's it. I think it's manipulation from the big companies. Here's what I observed. You don't have to agree with me. Bitcoin price was going up, right? It got a little bit out of their control. They didn't like that. People began talking about it. That's why they didn't like it. People began talking about Bitcoin in a super bullish way. I saw articles all over the place, and it was generating this extremely bullish energy. And I don't think they wanted that. Not yet. Not yet. And so they manipulated things. They sold. Some of their friends sold the companies, and they cooled it off. They know how to cool things off. And they know it's going to be blamed on something like this. So most people will never be the wiser as to what actually happened. It's a very easy technique to pull off. You a little smoke screen, make some noise over here while you operate over here. It's very easy to do such a thing. People, I remember even children used to do this in school. They'll tell you to look that way, right? And then they'll put their fist right here. And then when you look back, your face will go like this. You ever see that? They'll be like, what's that over there? And you look over, what is that? And then you look back, and then their fist will be right there. It's not a hard hit. Obviously, you're just turning your face, but still it's like a little joke. People used to do that. Same thing here. They know geopolitical tensions are extremely high. There's a bunch of madness going on. So everybody's looking at that and ready to blame it on that. They're ready for anything to be attached to that. But meanwhile, they manipulate the markets to make sure that they don't let the prices get too far before all their friends get in, because they all want to profit. They know, even though retail is not going to be the prime where it makes the price explode to an unbelievable place for Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, they still want to take retail's money. That's not an idea that's going to stop them from wanting to take retail's money. They're going to take all of their friends. There's a competition between companies, clearly. So they do want to take their friends' money, their not friends, but their peers' money. They also want retail's money. See, with retail, most of those industry people, they look at that just as easy money. The retail can be moved through the media. They control the mainstream media. They know that. They can pump that price anytime that they want. And so retail, because of that, retail is looked at as easy money. They want to control that. They have to control it. So now it continues on here. It says Bitfinex analysts note that open interest rose to an all-time high of $49.4 billion, indicating that traders are increasingly hedging their bets and speculating on the asset. In both cases, this suggests that traders are anticipating more volatility. Adding to this narrative is a decline in consumer spending, driven by growing concerns over the effects of tariffs, right? At the same time, unrealized profitable positions in Bitcoin have risen to historic levels, likely leading to significant profit taking. It's so crazy to me. 1 minute, pay attention to this, right? 1 minute we're reading articles where they're like, well, the geopolitical tension is good for Bitcoin like it is for gold. Really? That's what you were saying for multiple days, that Bitcoin was experiencing positive growth because of all this tension. It was a safe haven asset. Now you're saying Bitcoin's going down because of the same catalyst? You got to make up your mind here. Come on. I know it's different people, different articles. I know. I get it. I know. But still, it's something that I observed. Starting to feel a little bit better. Oh, man. You ever have those days? It's crazy. Half of the day it seemed absolutely perfect, and the other half is just, oh my word, what happened? The energy's just flipped. Oh, what is this? Okay, so there's a little bit of Bitcoin / XRP news. So I'm going to end it off with this one here, and then I'll make the other posts in the members only section. Okay, I'll post other articles because I'm not sure how long this video is now. And it seems like the algorithm likes my videos to be a certain length. It does. I always experiment with that. I watch closely. So now, anyway, this article is titled Gold Bars and Coins Lag ETF Demand. So it says geopolitical tensions will likely continue to boost gold prices. Now, that's how you know something is a safe haven. When there's trouble breaking out, that thing is secure. It says while inconsistent silver demand for China's solar production is contributing to the price volatility, according to precious metals analysts at Heraeus. It says in their latest precious metals update, the analysts noted that physical gold sales remain weak even as ETF demand supports the gold rally. Quote, well, yeah, but physical gold demand always goes up and down, always. It's like they feast, especially the central banks. So you look at their buying, it's astronomical. They'll feast for a while, then they'll cool off a little bit, then they'll feast some more, and then they'll cool off a little bit. They even put out statements at times. They'll say, well, we're going to pause for a month or two, and then they start buying again after that. You know, it's happened multiples of times. Let's continue. It says, quote, gold investment is expected to be a key area of demand strength this year, as other applications in jewelry demand have taken a severe hit from sky-high prices, unquote, they wrote. I personally feel like a lot of minds are changing anyway on gold. I know, from what I know, I'll say it like this. From what I know, most people are collecting gold bars, silver bars, even a little bit of platinum here and there. But jewelry, I don't know too many that are actually getting gold jewelry. It's like, you know, I just don't see it anymore. I think people are looking at gold more as a pure store of value for what it does, more so than I want to wear my value. Like, first of all, that's very dangerous. And seeing as a lot of what's been going on out here with, you know, with what people been doing. So that's dangerous to be wearing your value around. So I think that also affects it. But just also, once again, I think interest in jewelry from what I've seen in the real world has been down for a while, has been on a decline. I don't think that the interest in such a thing exists how it used to. I just don't. Let's continue on. It says, quote, however, year-to-date investment, and I think it's better for gold to have people stacking gold bars anyway, whether they're holding it themselves or not. It's better for them as a store of value. It's better for them. I think it's easier to move that once you're ready to liquidate that. If you're one of those people that's going to be liquidating at some time in the near future, I think that's easier to liquidate than you have some jewelry and then they have to estimate, like, you know, did you damage the jewelry? What was the quality of it? How many did you wear this? Like, okay, what is the true value of this? Now we have to investigate. This gold bar is a gold bar. Pamp Swiss gold bar, whatever you have, that can be easily, the value of that can be easily determined. So anyway, just a few thoughts. I could be wrong. You could disagree. It says, quote, however, year-to-date investment demand has primarily been focused on gold-backed ETFs, particularly in Asia. Total bar and coin demand improved by only 3% year-on-year in Q1 25. The source is the World Gold Council. And sales data from major global mints also point to relative weakness. Gold Eagle coin sales from the U.S. mint were 40% lower year-on-year to the end of April. Here's another thing I noticed. Well, first of all, I've never been a fan of coins and all of that type of stuff. I don't like that. I don't. Just give me the gold bar. Just give me a bar silver. Let's keep it simple. That's how I like to do it. That's just my way. So but also along with that, I haven't seen a lot of people that like coins. So, and I deal with a lot of people. That's why for me, that's significant. I deal with a lot of people. There's another piece I want to address here. Gold coins. Oh, also, so then they started putting a limitation. The regular retail investors wanted in on gold. They were fired up about it. Then what happened? Stores like Costco that got very popular as of recent for people going. I think it's Costco, right? Is it Costco? They're selling gold bars and silver. They became very popular in recent years as new sellers of physical gold. Now they limited how much the people can buy. You don't think that a major store like that would affect the purchasing data of gold now that they've limited their customers from buying physical gold? Which they need to clarify why they're doing that. I don't see AppMex. Anyway, so there's that as a possible reason. And not just them. I'm using them as an example. I heard a bunch of stores are doing that. That could have an effect as well. Not that that's going to make gold any less bullish. It's not. It's not. Because gold's price is propped up by the central banks and the large businesses. That's going to continue. And that's why they're saying here, everything continues to look strong. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.